Deep dive. Today, we're doing something a bit different, stepping back into a historical text.
Yeah, we're looking at William Boericke's Homeopathic Materia Medica.
Right, think of it like an old guide to substances and the symptoms they were thought to cause. Sort of a historical pharmacology, you could say.
Exactly. And we're focusing on one substance today.
Yeah, this one's called Carboneum Oxygenisatum, carbonous oxide.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission here is really just to dig into what this specific text recorded, these sometimes really surprising observations.
It's a great source for that. And, this carbonous oxide, the text gives it some really, really specific effects. Quite intense, actually.
Intense how?
Well, it mentions things like herpes zoster, pemphigus, and even trismus. That's lockjaw.
Wow, okay.
And alongside that, this recurring theme of marked coldness, profound sleepiness, and even loss of consciousness.
You mentioned vertigo, too.
Yeah, vertigo is listed as a kind of general effect right at the beginning. It sets the stage for some pretty significant neurological impacts described later.
Okay, so let's jump into those. The head symptoms sound particularly interesting.
They are.
The text lists cerebral congestion. Okay, but then, quite dramatically, hallucination of vision, hearing, and touch. All three senses.
Very specific.
And physically. Jaws firmly clenched. That's the trismus you mentioned.
Yeah.
And this really odd detail, an inclination to turn in a circle.
Strange, isn't it?
Yeah. Plus other things like heaviness of head, a sticking pain in temples, and roaring ears. It sounds like a really overwhelming experience.
It certainly sounds like it. And what's fascinating, I think, is just how precise these sensory descriptions are. Hallucination of vision, hearing, and touch.
Right.
It's not just, feeling unwell. It points to someone really trying to document exactly what was being reported or observed.
So, like a real attempt at clinical observation, even back then.
Sort of, yeah. Within their framework, of course. It suggests a really methodical approach to gathering symptoms, connecting these sensory distortions and physical actions to the substance. That specificity is quite remarkable.
Okay, so beyond the head and mind stuff, which is already pretty wild, what about vision? The eyes.
Yes. The eye symptoms are also incredibly detailed.
I saw things listed like ocular paralysis, hemianopsias, partial blindness, right?
That's right. Losing part of your field of vision.
Disturbed pupillary reaction, optic neuritis, and atrophy, which sounds like serious nerve damage.
It is. Inflammation and wasting away of the optic nerve, potentially leading to permanent vision loss.
And even visible things like subconjunctival and retinal hemorrhages, bleeding in the eye.
Exactly. Bleeding on the surface and inside on the retina.
These are not subtle symptoms.
Not at all. And including these specific, quite severe ocular conditions shows just how carefully they were observing. Whether it was paralysis they could see, or hemorrhages they could observe, or symptoms reported by the patient, it suggests they were documenting everything, no matter how serious. It really underlines that empirical collection of data,
Yeah, got it. Okay, so from the internal, like the eyes, to the external, the skin, what did they note there?
The skin manifestations are also quite distinct.
It mentions anesthesia, so loss of feeling.
Right.
But then these really specific patterns, like vesication along course of nerves, blisters following nerve paths.
That's a key detail.
And it repeats herpes zoster shingles, which we know follows nerves, and pemphigus, another blistering condition describing large and small vesicles.
Yes, differentiating the blister sizes even.
And one more physical detail. Hand icy cold.
Right, that coldness theme again.
What does that specificity, like the blisters along nerve lines, tell us?
Well, that description, vesication along course of nerves, is fascinating, isn't it? It suggests they were noticing patterns that we now associate with specific neurological or viral conditions.
Like shingles, yeah.
Exactly. Even without knowing the cause was viral, they observed the pattern. Documenting the location and type of blisters reflects a really systematic approach to symptom recording. Very methodical.
Okay, so we've had hallucinations, paralysis, specific skin issues. What about sleep? You mentioned sleepiness earlier.
Yes. The impact on sleep is described as quite profound.
How so?
The text uses words like deep and prolonged sleep,
Okay.
but it gets more specific. Sleepiness for several days.
Several days. Wow, that's not just feeling tired.
No, definitely not. Think about that being overwhelmingly sleepy for days on end.
Yeah.
It points to a really powerful systemic effect, doesn't it? Something deeply altering consciousness or physiology for an extended period. It's quite traumatic.
Absolutely. So we've gone through this incredible list of effects, But Boericke's goal wasn't just to list scary symptoms, right? It was for homeopathic practice.
Correct. The materia medica was a tool for finding remedies based on similarity.
So how did they actually suggest using this substance, Carbonium oxygenisatum? What's the dosage mentioned?
It's very brief. The text just says dose first attenuation.
First attenuation.
Yeah, which refers to a specific level of dilution within the homeopathic system of preparing remedies. It's just noting how it was typically prepared or used according to their methods.
Got it. Well, this has been a really eye-opening deep dive into just one entry in Boericke's Materia Medica, carbonous oxide.
It's quite something.
Yeah, I mean, the hallucinations across sight, hearing, and touch, the clenched jaws, the eye hemorrhages, those blisters along nerve paths, and that incredible multi-day sleepiness. It's just fascinating to see how meticulously these observations were recorded back then, the sheer level of detail.
It really is. And it leaves you with a thought, doesn't it? Considering these incredibly specific, sometimes really extreme symptoms they attributed to Carbonium oxygenisatum, what does this deep dive reveal to you, listening now, about the art of observation in historical medicine? How did that intense focus on symptoms shape their understanding long before we have the tools we have today?